You're listening to the Call Kent podcast, where Kent C. Dodds answers questions and gives insights to software engineers like you. Now, let's hear the call.
Hi Kent, my name is Jyoti and I hope you're doing well. This is regarding the post which you shared on Twitter 2 days back, where you mentioned that if you're a guy in your early 20s, get married and have kids. Go into debt if you have to, as this amplifies the potential which you have and it helps you get good at your craft because nothing motivates quite like a spouse and a little human who's dependent on you to make money and provide an income for food and shelter. So my question to you is like, how do you handle the stress when it comes during the job? Like, let's say you are stuck with a task for 2 days, and the business is behind you with a gun. Anytime they can shoot you. So if you have only one job and you're not getting any job offers from anybody else, how do you like cope up with that? And nowadays, since AI is improving day by day, how do you handle your fear of AI taking over your job? I know that AI will take your job after a few years, but how are you preparing for that? Thank you.
And that was the call. Here's what Kent had to say.
Hey, Jyoti, thank you for asking. This is a great question. So, for those who are unfamiliar, this was a meme going on back last year in December of 2024, where you'd have the format is, if you're a guy in your early 20s, do X, go into debt if you have to. And so I threw my hat in the ring and said, get married and have kids, because it just really motivates you and it gives you a lot more potential for happiness than anything else that I've ever done. As long as you don't screw it up, which I think if you're really invested in it, you can manage to avoid that. So, of course, that type of relationship goes two ways. And if you bring kids into the world, then that goes multiple ways. So it is a risk, but I think that for all of human history, clearly we've been able to make it work despite those risks. So I do think it has way more potential for providing way more happiness than anything else that you can do in life. And as you mentioned, Jyoti, I do think that it actually gives you or motivates you to become better at your craft because you have people, mounting pressure, I guess. And you described, the businesses behind you, and you've got a block you've been working on for 2 days, and there's a lot of stress and everything. And I guess adding a family to that just increases the stress, but it also increases the payoff as well. If you manage to be really successful in work, then you can make more money. And with more money, you can have greater, more wonderful experiences with your family. In those scenarios where you're really struggling with work, you can go home to a family who supports you and cares for you and loves you. I got married at a pretty young age. I think I was 23 when I got married. Let's see, maybe I was 22, just turning 23. I was pretty young when I got married, and we started having kids just a year later. And so I can't really speak to the way that, like, the alternative way to do this, that everybody just does things the way they do them. But I can't imagine what it would be like to have a really, really rough day and then go home to my apartment alone. I feel like I would be it would be much harder to remain motivated and satisfied with the stuff that I'm doing. Even if I have a really great day at work, it would be sad to not be able to share that with somebody and just say, hey, like, I did this awesome thing, and they can celebrate with you. So I the family doesn't necessarily make the other stresses of life go away. And in some cases, a family can actually enhance the stresses a little bit. But having a family can make the happy things happier and more fulfilling. And I feel like my capacity to feel a wider range of emotions was increased by getting married and having a family. And I've in the overall in the net, so long as I am being good to my spouse and good to my children and giving them the time and energy that they deserve, I find that I'm much happier and fulfilled in life. So that doesn't exactly answer your question, like how do I cope with the stress? I don't know. I don't think that the family necessarily makes any changes my strategies for that. However, it does give me somebody that I'm really committed to in my spouse that I can go to when I really need somebody to just talk with. She is not into computers at all, but she is somebody that I can trust and listen to, and she listens to me. And then my kids give me opportunities to get outside of myself and not center my life on myself. And that, I think, is a really valuable thing to keep in mind as well, that by looking outside of yourself, stress actually can be reduced. And I believe that there are research studies about this. So anyway, I hope that answers your question. Thank you for asking. And I realized that this is I was kind of, my post was kind of tongue in cheek, a little sarcastic, but it is what I did. I was in my early 20s. I got married and started having kids before I even turned 25. So it worked out really, really well for me. Everybody's life experience is different. You do what you think you need to do for your own happiness and success, whatever. But I think that it's a good thing to put effort and energy into. Family relationships are the pinnacle of happiness, at least in my life. So hope that's helpful to you. Take care.
This has been the Call Kent podcast. Learn more about Kent at kentcdodds.com and get your own questions answered at kentcdodds.com/calls.